Hey, it's Maciej here and welcome to the 5-step scaling framework. I'm going to show you the exact roadmap on how to get from $0 per month as an online fitness coach to 100K per month, the exact bottlenecks you will encounter at every level, the exact problems, and what to focus on to break to the next level. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Maciej Choromański. I'm on a mission to help online fitness coaches systemize their businesses so they can enjoy more freedom and make getting new clients easy. Okay, that's the whole point of this channel. So that's all we talked about. So let's jump straight in. So we can break it up into 4 core phases. And the first one is where probably most of you guys watching this will be stack ads, which is you are literally the entire engine. As far as the offer and positioning, you probably are trying to sell kind of everything. You're not sure what your offer is. You want to go from trying to sell everything to mastering one high ticket offer. You want to pick one specific avatar and to talk to that avatar, which will allow you to become the expert for that person and charge $3,000 to $5,000 upfront, which means you can break from this level to the next one with just 3-4 clients per month. So to go to the next level, you have to be able to clearly state who you help and what results you can get them. Your offer is priced at least $2,000 upfront, and your Instagram bio reflects this single offer. If you don't know how to structure your Instagram bio, check out the other video on this channel. I'll link it here as well. Next, from the lead flow, you want to stop posting random content to just go viral and want to start posting content with one clear purpose: starting conversation. So you want to start posting 5 to 7 times per week, and more is not always better. You want to be very, very intentional. Like I said, if I were to break it up, the easiest way: be polarizing, show who you are as a person, share your real opinions. You want to be talking specifically towards your avatar as well, that we've picked in the previous step. Yes, you can do some viral videos. You can recreate viral videos, which is probably what a lot of you guys are doing right now. Yes, you can do that, but it should be maybe 20, 30, 40% of your content. Most of your content should be tailored specifically towards your avatar. You should be showing case studies of your clients getting results. You should be talking about things that are you are noticing, some problems that you are noticing with your clients, what's keeping them stuck. Talk about that with your audience on Instagram. You don't need to script out your videos. You can literally be talking in selfie style. That's what works best right now. You want to be authentic. You want to be polarizing. You can also do reaction videos. If something pisses you off on Instagram, you disagree with a certain coach or with just a certain way of living, with certain habits, life habits, or family. If you are a coach for parents, that can work great as well. Do a reaction video to that video and kind of snitch them. You know, like just share your real opinions, because this way you will build a group of fans. Yes, you'll repel a lot of people, but all the clients that will come to work with you will be your ideal clients, dream clients that resonate with your opinion, and you will actually enjoy working with them. Next, you have to be starting DM conversations with engaged followers and likers and people engaging with your content in general. So I would start at least 50 to 100 conversations every single day. This way you can get a consistent lead flow, and the goal is to get at least 10-15% of those people to reply to you, to get back to you. As far as the opener message, you can say like, hey, thanks so much for the follow. Are you on a fitness journey right now or looking to get one started? For example, there's also another video on the channel on how to DM people that just followed you and how to convert them into clients. So I'll link it here as well. You can check it out later. As far as sales, a lot of people have this fear of selling. They are inconsistent with follow-up, and you don't ask for payment on the phone, which is crazy. Like if you just let somebody off the phone without them paying you, they will not pay you. You always have to collect money on the phone. So bottom line is, you want to get a sales script. There's so many of them out there. One is not better than the other. You want to learn that sales script. You want to have one formula that you are following. You want to track everything, and you want to learn to sell effectively on the phone. So as far as what good looks like, you want to be booking anywhere from 3 to 5 calls per week. You can do that from organic. Close 25% plus of qualified calls. So you want to be tracking that on a simple spreadsheet. You have a simple process for taking payments. Like I said, you can use Stripe. Definitely set up financing options in Stripe. So Afterpay, Klarna, Affirm. This way people can essentially get financing within a few seconds on the phone. This way they can pay your $2,000, $3,000 for your package in smaller installments, but you collect everything up front. As far as client delivery, well, you deliver everything. So there's really no structure. There's probably no specific structure right now. Maybe you have an app, maybe you use Trainerize or whatever, but there's kind of no structure. You know, you don't have a clear follow-up. You don't have a clear onboarding process. You don't have SOPs. You don't have a contract. So the key is to create a repeatable process for onboarding and coaching clients. Clients get a quick win in their first 7 days. So what good looks like, there's another video on the channel. I know I'm linking a lot of them, but there's another video on the onboarding process. So clients get a quick win in their first 7 days. You have a standard check-in process, and you have a small engaged client community where people stay in your program because they feel like a part of a community, of something bigger than just them. You know, they feel like a part of a group, and that's why they will want to stay in your program for significantly longer. But the key shift here is to realize that it's all about leverage. You know, you have to focus all of your attention on the highest leverage activities. Focus your attention on the things that take the least effort and deliver the biggest results, which means outreach, sales. That's all you have to focus on. Now, it's probably going to look like this unless you hire somebody. You work 8 to 12 hours a day. You have no documented systems. You're starting to build some, and the business probably stops if you take a day off. So the key here to break to the next level is just lead generation and acquisition. That's it. You want to be generating leads, closing clients, hopping on calls. That's your whole focus. And next, you can think about hiring. As far as the best hires, I would hire earlier if you really dislike some of these activities that I'm going to talk about now. First things first, appointment setting. This is something that you can delegate for people with, basically you can pay them commission and they will be sitting in your DMs all day and replying to people. This way you can book more calls, but you're going to give up some of the profit. Second, some kind of VA, virtual assistant. You can get them from Online Jobs PH for a few bucks per hour, and they can take some of the low leverage work off your plate, some of the basic operations, things that anyone can do. You know, if you just give them a simple process, anyone can do it, and you won't be wasting your time on that. Now, if you want like a full stack solution, something that is actually proven to work with a guarantee, you can check out the first link in the description. We can come into your business at this stage. We usually work with online fitness coaches making between 3 to 20K per month. We come into your business, give you all the content, handle all of your content ideas, scripts, edits, posting, tailored towards your niche. We will help you refine your offer, build a high ticket offer, and then we will also run ads on top of that on a small budget to amplify all of it. And we do have a profit guarantee, so you can check out the link in the description. So as far as phase 2, you're probably realizing that some of the people that you hop on calls with will be a perfect fit for your program, but they just cannot afford the high ticket, even with the financing, or they cannot do financing. That's why you want to also create a lower ticket offer, like a 300 to 500 offer that has less deliverables. It takes less time from you, but you can actually downsell people and potentially in the future, as they get some results, to your higher ticket program as well. So that's a low ticket offer, but you also definitely want to create a lead magnet, which is actually completely free, that you give out in your content to start conversations and provide value and build conversations in the DMs. So you want to have a valuable PDF or guide to offer in DMs. This freebie solves a small specific problems for your ideal client, and you started to start conversations, not just collect emails. You can actually collect emails, you know, which is cool to build an email list, but the goal is to start conversations. So this can be a free workout split, some kind of recipe pack. It can be a grocery list, simple stuff that will solve some problems of your avatar. They will see like, hey, this person is actually the expert. They know what they're talking about, and they will be also more likely to start working with you one-on-one because you already provided them some value. As far as lead flow, you definitely at this step want to hire a virtual assistant or a setter, because otherwise you will be just stuck in your DMs all day. Because you are the bottleneck right now in lead generation, and as we know, the key to scaling every business really is just lead generation. You know, obviously delivery as well, but lead generation. Like without lead generation, you will not break to the next level. So you are the bottleneck because you don't have enough time to manage all DMs. Even if you feel like you are the best in your DMs, you know, nobody can do it as well as you. Well, first things first, the setter this is their sole responsibility in their life, just sitting in your DMs and replying to people, so they will get better than you pretty quickly, you know, especially if you train them properly. So you want to go from doing all the outreach yourself to leveraging a low-cost team member. Again, you can even hire them on commission, which makes it super easy. So you just pay them a percentage of the close. So which means if they book a call for you in the DMs and you close that client, you pay them a percentage of the cash collected, which is like you only pay them if you make money, right? So that's a great team member to have. So a setter works 8 hours a day in your inbox. They manage follow-up and book calls into your calendar, and you are also talking to the most qualified leads, because if you train them properly, you teach them the right qualifying questions, it will also allow you to have less no-shows, right? It will allow you to monetize a lot more leads because they will be able to follow up with a lot more people that you don't have time to do that, but they do, right? That's their sole responsibility, is to talk to as many leads as they can, follow up with people, and book qualified calls directly into your calendar. At this point, you should still be closing yourself. A lot of people try to hire a closer at this point, but you will not get a good closer. You know, if you are making $10,000 to $25,000 per month, because a good closer wants to make a lot of money, right? These people are hungry for money. So if you just give them like 30 calls per month, which is probably where you're at this level, they're not going to close a lot of them. You know, you're not going to get a good person. You're going to get a beginner, and you're going to basically burn money that otherwise you would have made on those calls yourself. Now, tying back to the setter, you probably still kind of don't trust them. Maybe you're still training them at this point. So you want to be spending your time only on sales calls with pre-qualified leads and not finding them. So the goal here is to have 5 to 10 calls every single week without your involvement, because you have that appointment setter. You have a clear handoff process between you and your setter, and ideally your show-up rate is 80%. I would say that's optimistic. At least 70-75% is good. and you're tracking everything. So that's lead generation, but as far as the delivery and retention, you might want to consider hiring your first assistant coach and your community manager. But the key shift here is going from being the only coach to building a team that handles day-to-day client needs. And this is especially important if you get to the level where you have like 20, 30 clients and you kind of just burn out, it's just too much. You want to definitely hire these people. So you want to hire an assistant coach that handles check-ins and programming. At first, you can give them just some basic stuff. They can be like part-time, but over time, you want to give them more clients, more of your client delivery work. A community manager keeps the client group active and engaged. Again, you have to be thinking long-term. If your group is engaging all the time, if there's people talking there, if there's a lot of interaction, and you probably, at this point, you might not have enough time to do it yourself. So that's why you might want to consider hiring that person. If there's a lot of conversations, that is going to significantly increase the retention rate, right? Which means people are going to be staying in your program for longer and renewing, which means you are going to be making money from renewals, which means this person is going to be paying for themselves, right? Because people are renewing in your program and they're paying you to stay in your program. Again, like they're going to be renewing to another package. And this is probably going to be like the most uncomfortable, like the weirdest part for you, right? This phase specifically, because you are shifting from being just a one-man CEO to actually building a real business, to start building a real team of people that will admire your vision and they will want to grow with you. As far as operations, it's important to start building some first SOPs, aka standard operating procedures, and have a good team communication. So probably right now, you probably don't have any like documented processes leading to inconsistent team performance. And by this point, you definitely need to have a very systemized onboarding process, by the way. But as far as communication, as far as the team performance, you want to go from managing yourself to being a small team. So you want to have simple Google documents explaining key tasks. So you want to create like a one Google Drive folder. You can add subfolders for specific team members and just create documents with step-by-step documented processes of what they need to be doing on a daily basis or on a regular basis. As far as the daily communication with your team, you can use Slack, you can use WhatsApp. It's not really important at that level, but you might want to transition into Slack, which is what you will need at scale anyway. And you want to start tracking basic KPIs for your setters. So response rates, booking rates, how many calls they're booking on a weekly basis, how many of those show up, how many of them are actually qualified. And if you track metrics, you can actually make decisions. If you don't track them, you don't know where the problem is. Also, at this point, making small changes, small shifts to certain bottlenecks in your business that you notice will make a gigantic difference. So for example, as far as the offer and positioning, I would definitely implement premium positioning with a thank you page VSL. And in general, just focus a bit more on creating VSL, video sales assets that you can send to leads before the calls. Because right now, at this point, you're probably seeing a lot of leads show up cold or uneducated about your offer, because like at first, yes, you had some engagement, you were booking some calls yourself in the previous phases, but those were warm leads. At this point, you're probably tapping into a bit of colder leads, which means they know less about your offer, which is why it's important to educate them, pre-educate them before the calls. And you go from selling on the sales calls to actually pre-selling before the calls. So after booking, you want to have a thank you page. There's a video on the channel that I'm going to link as well on the pre-call process and how to make a lot of money with a good pre-call process. I gave the exact example, so you can check it out, how to build a good thank you page. You want to have a VSL of you explaining the offer, testimonials, and FAQs. So again, like before the calls, people will already know who you are, how you can help them. They will know everything about your program, and they will be basically ready to buy, So this is a great thing you can implement here to increase the show up rates to the calls and also the close rates. As far as the lead flow, at least 50% of your lead flow should be coming from paid traffic. You probably have some fear of spending money on ads or spending more money on ads if you started running them earlier, which I would recommend, to be honest. You want to start running direct to DM ads or at least boosted posts to make it easy at least 20 to 50 bucks per day. At this point, I would be spending even more. Like certainly you can run this even earlier, even on the first stage if you want to really accelerate the process. And this is what we also implement for our clients, because that's how you can scale quicker. But at this point, you definitely need to be spending, I would say, 50 to 100 per day. The more, the better, because success loves speed, and it will just take you longer if you spend less. If you spend more, you're going to grow faster. This way, your setters have a predictable flow of new leads to talk to daily, and you are no longer at the mercy of the algorithm, because yes, you want to be posting daily still, you still want to be polarizing, you still want to be sometimes producing content to go viral, but it shouldn't be the only way you get leads, right? You want to have a predictable system, because at this point, you've already built a solid business foundation, so you need a consistent flow of leads to maintain that level of income. As far as the sales process, at this point, you might want to consider hiring a closer because you are probably the bottleneck in revenue generation. And right now, the business can only make as much money as you have time to take calls. And yes, if you do have time to take calls, if you are not that swamped, don't outsource it because you will shrink your profit margins. So I wouldn't do it if you still have time for calls. But if you are hopping on 5, 6, 7 calls, or you hate the sales calls, then yes, you might want to outsource it to a commission-based closer. So you hire a commission-based closer, you can pay them anywhere. I would say you can pay them 10%, but if you don't have a lot of calls, then you will need to probably pay them 15%. And I would also recommend some bonuses on top of that to incentivize them to work harder. So for example, bonuses on PIFs, bonuses on percentage of cash collected on the phone. You obviously also need to have a sales training process to get them to speed. So at this point, you definitely must have a good documented sales process and a sales script that worked for you over and over again. This way you are freed up from most sales calls, and you have a lot more freedom in your business at this point because there's a lot of different people in your business responsible for different things, and you are this manager, you are this CEO. At this point, you definitely will need to hire some assistant coaches and community managers, but you want to have a very systemized, like a very documented process as far as delivery, and you might want to consider having a tiered support. So you want to go from a flat coaching structure to creating different levels of support, and you can also add a few different price points to your offer. You don't need to do it. The key here is to have a very productized, very systemized way of delivering for clients, right? And have those team members in place. This is how you will be able to scale. You want to have 2+ assistant coaches. You are the head coach running group calls and setting their vision. And at this point, I would definitely switch to group calls in your client community. So you're not doing one-on-ones if you've done them in the past, and your personal coaching time is reserved for the highest tier clients. Like I said, if you want to try the tiers at this point, like I said, it's not necessary. What is necessary is that you have assistant coaches by this point. Now, as far as the operations, you are the leader right now. You are the CEO. So you need to have scorecards. You need to be controlling the quality of your work. So right now you are probably not tracking the metrics as you should be. So you don't know what's actually working or who is performing well or who is basically lazy and they're not doing anything on your team. So you are just wasting money on people that are not doing the work as they should be. So you want to go from managing tasks to managing people and their performance. So you want to have a dashboard with key metrics. So calls booked, show rate, close rate, cash collected, maybe some retention rate as well, which will help you see how the community managers are performing. Each team member has a specific scorecard with their specific KPIs. I would also add an EOD report, which means at the end of the day, they get a report, like a form that they need to fill out with what they did throughout the day, their tasks, what were the bottlenecks that they encountered, and what they are going to do tomorrow to, for example, improve. This will allow you to see what people are doing in your organization and what problems are occurring on a daily basis. If you want to break to the next level, you need to have a consistent client acquisition system as far as paid ads, and you have to become the leader. You have to be good at leading people in your organization. And at this point, it's really just about increasing the ad spend with ads that are already proven to work. Maybe you can double the inputs with your content, so double the content that you're doing on a daily basis to get even more leads, and that's how you get to the next level, which is the phase 4. So what good looks like, you have a high ticket offer, a mid ticket, and possibly a low ticket as well. Definitely a high ticket and a mid ticket one. Each has its own lead magnet as well, ad campaigns and follow-up sequences, because they will need to be a little bit different most likely, and you are capturing more of the market because you are capturing people that can pay you high ticket, but those that can also pay you the mid ticket, and that you can then upsell into the high ticket. As far as the lead flow, your lead flow is probably still heavily reliant on outbound efforts, so ads and setters. So you want to go from chasing leads to attracting them with a powerful brand. What that means is a significant portion of your leads come from referrals and people finding you organically. So you need a good referral system and a good renewal system so you can make more money from every single of your current customers that you have. You are seen as a major authority in your niche, and your content is focused on high level ideas, not just tips and tricks. By this point, you should kind of become like a life coach, and be that authority in the space besides just sharing tips and tricks. As far as sales, if you already have a closer, you probably will need another one, and you might also want to consider hiring a sales manager. It all depends on how much you're actually charging, because at every level you can be increasing the prices. So that means there will be less calls but more revenue, right? So you might not even need to have a sales manager. You might even need to have 2 closers. You have a robust sales training and onboarding systems for team members, and you are completely removed from the sales process. As far as delivery and retention, you don't coach. That's it. there's going to be the need to be directly involved in client fulfillment, but you have to go from being the head coach to being the business owner of the coaching business. You have to become the business owner and you have to go away from being the coach. So you have a head of coaching or client success manager who runs the delivery team of coaches, and your main role is to train the coaches and improve the program, right? You are not in the weeds of day-to-day client issues. You have other people that handle the issues. You handle the biggest problems that your team members cannot solve. And as far as operations, you are the CEO. You go from managing the business to leading the company. You have department heads, so sales, marketing, fulfillment, ops. You spend your time on strategy, vision, and culture, and you work on the business, not in it, because you have a team. All of your time goes into the strategy, into recording content, ads, because you are the face of the brand, but you are not directly involved in the daily operations. And next, going to the phase 5 to scale to even bigger levels, you have to obviously increase the ad spend and just find a way to get even more leads. Like I said, improve your renewal system so you make more money from every client that you have and spend more money into ads, double down on content, double down on what's working, what's bringing you the most revenue, and that's how you can go to even more than $100,000 a month. As far as the offer and positioning, you definitely can start charging more because you are the authority. You go from being a player in the market to defining the market. You are the number one recognized brand in your specific niche. Competitors are now copying you. That's a good thing. And you can charge premium because you are the clear choice. So you can charge more than $5,000 as your base offer right here. As far as the lead flow, you want to achieve omnipresence. So probably you are just posting on Instagram. Definitely you have to post on all platforms. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you might want to consider LinkedIn. You have a strong presence on Instagram, YouTube, a podcast, and an email list. So all of these things, right? You want to be also doing long form content because that's how you nurture leads. You can do podcasts, again, do live streams, podcasts, be on podcasts with other guests as well, right? Maybe you can invite other big players in the space on podcasts with you, your clients on podcasts with you, to build a lot of social proof. And you definitely want to build an email list because that's how you will be able to monetize all the people that get lead magnets for you a lot better. And you will also be able to roll out a lower ticket offer to monetize that email list and have a more passive income. You have a content team that repurposes your core ideas for each platform, and your lead flow is diversified and resilient. Obviously, you are running ads. You can just increase the ad spend and scale to even bigger levels. As far as the sales, not a lot of changes here. You basically definitely need to have a dialed-in system for tracking everything because by this point, you will need multiple closers, multiple setters. So you have to be tracking all of this very, very religiously. You might want to start split testing sales scripts and offers, track conversion rates at every single step of the funnel to know where the smallest bottlenecks are, because at this point, if you improve a certain metric by 5%, you will make $10,000, $20,000 more revenue. As far as the delivery and retention, you have to build a world-class curriculum and training portal for your clients, for your team members as well. You have a software component or a highly scalable community model where just everything is completely automated. You have a lot of automations and the client experience is incredible and consistent regardless of who is delivering it, right? You have a lot of assistant coaches, you have a head coach of those coaches, and that's how you can build a team without your direct involvement. And as far as operations, it's basically a self-running company by this point because you have a leadership team and head positions for every department that run the company without you. The company has a clear mission, vision, and values that guide all decisions, and you can take a 3-month vacation and the business will continue to grow. You don't need to be involved in your business all the time. So I hope this video gave you a nice vision and a clear roadmap on what to do right now to break to the next level. Now, if you want somebody to just come into your business, look at your offer, increase the prices, help you with positioning, then help you automate the content, editing, scripts, posting, the right types of content for your specific avatar and niche. Next, help you create the right ads that convert and help you manage them and scale them completely done for you and help you with hiring. So as you can see, you can go to any phase, any level that you want with help like this. So if you want us to come into your business and implement all of this for you, you can check the first link in the description. There is a video of me explaining how my company can do all of this for you. Now, you don't have to click it if you don't want to. I hope you got a lot of value from this video alone. If you like the video, there's a button for that. So make sure you click it if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this and see videos that keep you engaged and watching until the end. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.